Lou and Jim Langley were college sweethearts. They met, they married, and raised a family together. Theirs is a story of love, commitment, adversity, and blessings. Lou Langley sat down with me to reflect on her husband, Jim Langley. We appreciate you being here so much. You know, this was Jim's office for 34 years, and so a big part of both of your lives is here at Cypress Point. What does it mean to come back here?
Well, it was difficult at first after Jim passed away, but now it's easier for me to come. Everyone, even those who didn't know Jim or certainly didn't know me, have been so welcoming and so happy to see me and the guests that I bring. So I'm very grateful to be here and all the wonderful memories that we shared.
Jim was highly, highly respected, and certainly a man of great character and integrity. And that's the side of Jim Langley that, once people get to know him, they understand who he is. Where do you think that sense of well-being and always looking out for others, where do you think that came from?
I think he was just born with it. He was a remarkable man, and I was so impressed with him the very first time. We actually had a date to get a hamburger at Kip's on the Berkeley campus, and we were in our senior year. And as we were walking down the street, and with all the other students, he mentioned to me that his heart really went out to some of the older people that he would see on the street. And he said, I was amazed that any college senior would be aware and would even care or mention it, much less to me. So it was quite an impression he made.
You're going back to the days at Cal where Jim was on the NCAA championship basketball team, and you met there and you married, and you had this wonderful family of 4 boys, and all of you, have continued after Jim's passing to be a great support and kind of a guiding light for the Langley, which is the Northern California PGA's principal fundraiser for PGA Hope and for the Langley Scholarship Committee. Jim obviously was around for a number of those years, but it has grown to such incredible proportions over the years. What do you think he'd be thinking about the Langley at this point?
Oh, he would be so pleased with the direction and with the success and with the programs that you've brought in. It's everything he loved and supported and felt strongly about in his own life. In his very modest way, he must be smiling about all of this because it wasn't anything he would ever seek. He truly was everything that you ever have read or people have told you about him.
Jim didn't want his name on the Langley. His comment was nobody would know what a Langley is, but certainly after having Arnold Palmer and Jack Nicklaus and Ken Venturi and Tom Watson and Johnny Miller and Billy Casper, and the list goes on and on and on as honorees. And I would ask him every year. I remember specifically asking him, Jim, do you know Jack Nicklaus? And he said, well, I've met him, but he wouldn't remember me. And I remember Jack walking up to Jim and putting a big bear hug on him and say, how have you been? Oh. But that was Jim Langley. It wasn't about him. It was always about someone else. Yes. And, and that's, I suppose, what made him so endearing to everyone, because he made them all feel so special. What do you think that, anybody that didn't know a Jim Langley and has heard about the Langley and our ability to support PGA Hope helping veterans enhance their lives through the game of golf, and in many cases even save lives. You know, we've heard stories about people that have been on the edge, and golf and PGA Hope has saved them. If someone is touched by the story, what can they do to help? How can they help the Langley?
Well, we would always love to see them come and participate in the Langley and play if possible, and support the scholarships that are available in any of the areas that we support.
He had a horrible accident and lost the use of an arm, and probably was in pain more than we know.
Oh, yes, he was.
But Jim described it as the best thing that ever happened to him.
I know.
Because it was a way for him to reflect about others as opposed to himself. And what do you think that, or how important was his faith in all of that?
Well, when you talked about the accident, one of the things that I will never forget, he said, was it was better that it happened to me, because he said, I have the strength to handle this. And I had never heard anyone, say anything like that before. But he did, and he became a wonderful teacher, because even though he tried to play with his one arm, it soon became evident that he would lose the use of that arm as well. So, but for the stroke victims he helped, for the inspiration he was to people with disabilities, it was yet another gift.
What has the Langley and all of its accomplishments meant to Lou Langley personally? What, if you had to sum up what this adventure has been over the last whatever number of years it is now, what do you walk away with?
Just an idea of what the Langley means, because these people that don't even know him anymore are there, and they're cheering, and when they see that video, they are touched by the man that they've heard so much about.
34 years here, and he is one of 2 people ever offered an honorary membership, and the other being a president named Eisenhower and Langley. That's pretty good company to be in.
Yes.
We loved him.
Oh, yes.
We continue to love him. And as I said, we love you and your family and all you've done for the Langley, and we'll continue to do it.
Yes, we will.
All right.
Okay, thank you, Frank.
To learn more about the Langley and its charitable works, visit ncpgafoundation.org.